it's Jordan and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a non-spoiler series review of the Passenger duology by Alexandra Bracken, which includes Passenger, which I gave a 3.5 out of 5 stars, and Wayfarer, which I gave a 2 out of 5 stars. In one devastating night, our main character, Etta Spencer, who's also a budding violinist, loses everything that she knows and loves. Thrust into an unfamiliar world by a stranger with a dangerous agenda, Etta is only certain of one thing. She has traveled miles from home and years into the past. Unbeknownst to her, she's inherited a legacy that she knows absolutely nothing about from a family that she's never heard of before. Nicholas Carter is content with his life at sea, free from the Ironwoods, a very powerful family in the colonies that have kept him under servitude for most of his life. Now the Ironwoods are searching for a dangerous historical artifact that they presume Etta to be in possession of. However, Etta has absolutely no idea what this artifact is. Together, Etta and Nicholas embark on a perilous journey through different continents and different centuries to locate this dangerous artifact and keep it out of these very dangerous people's hands. So I did do an entire review for Passenger last year in January when it came out. I will go ahead and link that on the screen if you want to check it out. Passenger was marketed as being this epic treasure hunt through time with pirates involved. And I really had a problem with this synopsis for Passenger because they're not necessarily pirates, they're more like privateers. And so it wasn't this swashbuckling Pirates of the Caribbean type setting that I was anticipating. Also, the treasure hunting, time traveling aspect that the book is so heavily marketed as didn't come into play until maybe about 3/4 into the book. The artifact in question that they're looking for isn't really introduced until about halfway into the book, and it takes another quarter of the book for them to actually begin that search. So the first book didn't really focus enough on the time travel treasure hunting aspect for me personally. I had come to really enjoy the first book and I appreciate it for what it gave me, which was much more of a historical romance than any treasure hunting time traveling. The time traveling treasure hunt is kind of a nice side story that's kind of woven throughout the whole novel, but it's not the primary focus. I didn't feel that it was, at least. So when I think of it just in those terms, I had come to kind of enjoy and appreciate it more. I really enjoyed the ending. The first book had a very climactic end scene. It was enough to keep me intrigued in going into the next book, which is one of my least favorite books that I have ever read. To be quite honest, I wish I would have just DNF'd Wayfarer. I would find myself reading like a page and a half, maybe even only a page, being bored and having to put it aside and get on my phone and go on Instagram or Twitter or something because I was already so bored with the book and I had literally only read a page. I found the second book to be filled with extra crap. Her writing style had a whole new light shown on it in the second book. Wayfarer was the third book I had read by Alexandra Bracken. I actually read obviously Passenger and The Darkest Minds, and I did struggle through both of those books. I had a really hard time getting into both of them. It took me a long time to read them both. It became so glaringly obvious in Wayfarer that I don't like Alexandra Bracken's writing style. It is so oversaturated with extra crap that it makes a simple interaction 3 pages long. There were times when I was dozing off and I would realize I'd read a page and a half and didn't absorb any of the information, but I never once had to go back and read that page and a half because nothing actually happened, because this inner dialogue, inner struggle between the characters or whatever was going on wasn't really pertinent to the story. So I found myself skim reading so much of the book because I just felt like there were whole sections that didn't need to be there, and it just made the book so wordy. I think this book could have been half the length if we took out all of the unnecessary inner struggle and dialogue. I wouldn't say her style is necessarily flowery, but it's really descriptive. She takes 19 words to describe a 3-word sentence. You know, that kind of style. There were so many more scenes about their inner thoughts and their inner struggles and how they were dealing with different situations they were putting themselves in rather than the actual plot. I can't really even tell you what the plot of Wayfarer is. It was just so convoluted with everything else that the plot got lost in there somewhere. I just felt like the plot was just floundering, kicking and screaming in the ocean, and everything else was in lifeboats. The other things were more focused on and I feel like much more fleshed out. Something else that Wayfarer didn't do that I thought Passenger really succeeded at was the atmospheric feeling of each of the different time periods. I remember saying that I felt that Passenger really did a good job of distinguishing the different locations that we were visiting and making them feel each to their own and really representative of their culture. Wayfarer did not succeed in this nearly as well. I couldn't tell the difference from 1919 Russia to 1100 Japan to 1776 New York City. They visited probably a dozen different countries in this book, and they all felt the same. That beautiful atmospheric descriptive writing that she did so well in Passenger was like non-existent, or maybe it was just lost in all the other convoluted mess that was happening. Another thing that I was really disappointed in was the length of time that the characters spent apart. They become separated at the end of Passenger, and they spend a lot of the second book on different journeys, like physically different journeys. They don't really reconnect until the last 100 or so pages of the book. The first book was built so heavily on their relationship, and then the second book, they weren't together at all. They were even questioning why they were in love with each other. And they would say, yeah, I know I've only known him for a month. Maybe that really is too short a time to be this committed to somebody. They were questioning their own commitment to each other, so it made me question their commitment to each other. And I was like, well, why do you even care if you're together or not? Like, what's the point of going on this wild goose chase to get back to one another if you're not even sure if you want to be with each other? It made no sense to me. And that was really obnoxious because I found that to be really undermining of the series in general. The whole point of the book is trying to reconnect, and then they're like, well, why do we want to? And I'm like, why are we trying so hard? And it was a weird thing to point out, and I don't know, it just made it feel like their pursuit was pointless. And the artifact and why they were searching for the artifact made sense more or less, but why they were trying so hard to get back to each other didn't make sense to me anymore. And one thing about Passenger that I was really disappointed with was that it took so long for time travel to come into play. With Wayfarer, I thought, great, we can jump right into time traveling and not have to worry about that foundational stuff that she spent so much time on in Passenger. Like I mentioned, the time traveling wasn't even that great. Like, I wasn't even that excited about it. That was one of my biggest turnoffs from Passenger, was that it wasn't included enough. But even then, when she included more of it, it still wasn't enough. It was just so much lacking from the second book that I was constantly questioning, why am I even reading this? What is the point of me continuing? I think at some point I had thought, perhaps, maybe it will redeem itself like Passenger did in the end. It didn't. Unfortunately, very, very let down by Wayfarer. It was just too much for me. It was too slow. It was too oversaturated with nonsense that wasn't necessary to the plot. The plot didn't move fast enough. I couldn't even find the plot in the second book. The first book had no time traveling except for the last 100 pages. There were no actual pirates like what you think of when you think of pirates. There, it was no Jack Sparrow or Blackbeard. And I have seen from other people too that agree that this book was a little bit too slow paced for them. I would definitely recommend this to someone who is more into that slow pace, slow moving type of story. Reviews from other people who really like a slow building story really enjoy this series because they like that it takes its time to unfold, and also that they really enjoy the descriptive writing. A little bit too slow paced for them. I would also recommend this to somebody who's looking for a more diverse fantasy read. The main relationship is between Nicholas and Ada, so it has a mixed race relationship, which is something that's always great to see. It also has two characters that are represented on the LGBTQ+ spectrum. This one has more representation in it than some others do for sure. I think that Alexandra Bracken did a really great job with time travel. Time travel can become really convoluted and really hard to understand, and she did a great job of laying down the rules and the constraints on this world, made it very easy to follow. It also does have some really great character moments, really great character insights, so if you are a character reader, I think you really enjoy this as well. And if you also really love historical fiction, I think you'd also enjoy this because they do travel to several different continents and countries across multiple centuries. And it definitely was just a situation of it not being the right series for me and not being something that I necessarily connected with, but I don't think that it's something that nobody would connect with. I definitely think you enjoy any of those things that I mentioned that you really would like this duology. So those are all my thoughts and opinions on the Passenger duology by Alexandra Bracken. I would love to know what your thoughts were on this in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, I'll talk to you very soon. Bye!